Hi, everybody, and welcome back to A Dinosaur in the Library. Thank you so much for tuning in to listen to me ramble about books again. So, tonight I'm going to be doing a review of a book I just finished a few days ago, and that is Photobooth, a Biography by Meags Fitzgerald. This is a graphic novel, nonfiction, published 2014 by Conundrum Press, which is a Canadian company, and the author is also Canadian. And Meags Fitzgerald graduated from college with a degree in theater, I think, and visual art. And this graphic novels, she didn't come out of college, doing graphic novels. This wasn't in the original plans from the way it seems. The book is nonfiction about photo booths, but there is a bit of memoir mixed in. You get a lot of her travels in her pursuit of photo booth history, and she collects photo booth pictures and has since she was a child. She used to take lots and lots of pictures in them as a child in Canada, and she loves vintage photo booth strips of pictures, and there's a lot more to the history of photo booths than one would think, right? So she starts at the very beginning with their creation, their inception, and the creators fight to get money to build these things and put them out and try to make them make money. And it's just such a simple idea, a booth that takes your picture, but it became something that meant a lot to people in different eras for very specific reasons. So I know a lot of people probably already know, during World War II particularly, there were a lot of photo booth pictures taken. And these were mementos from, for people who may or may not, who thought they may or may not be coming home from Europe after being deployed there. But they were also really important in other communities. So she talks about how they were, this is before the Civil Rights Movement, so they were extremely important to African American communities because they allowed them to document their lives in a way that portrait studios really didn't. There weren't as many portrait studios, apparently, as what I'm gathering from this history. I don't know a whole lot about the history of portrait studios, but from what I'm gathering from this particular book is that there weren't that many portrait studios that allowed African Americans to patronize them. So they had no way of, remembering these times in their lives with photos, as one tends to do. So the photo booth was a really important thing for them. And another one that really just stopped me in my tracks because, okay, so I live in Florida, and January 6th, which is just this past Tuesday, Florida received marriage equality. The entire gay and lesbian community is now able to have legal marriages within the state, and I could not be happier. My wife and I are plotting. I say wife, we do not have a legal marriage. We are plotting a ceremony of some sort, either this year or next year, and we are just over the moon about the fact that we will finally have a solid legal relationship. And the day that Florida got marriage equality, I happened to be reading this book, and I came across this page, or this spread here. Let's see if I can get it on the screen. So you can probably tell that these are same-sex couples, and the text reads, "The curtain, which became a staple of photo booths after the I can't pronounce this. Photomaton cut the sitter off from the outside world. The privacy created a safe space for gay couples to capture their relationships." So this is another community that really did not have the ability, or even really the right, given the time period, to document their relationships, to document their lives in a way that was meaningful for them, in the ways that heterosexual couples or non-minority couples, in the case of African Americans, were able to do. So photo booths served a really important purpose for them. They served as a way to leave something in the world that showed their lives as they were, and not as everyone perhaps assumed them to be. Because even now it's really dangerous to be out of the closet in many places, but in earlier times, specifically in the times that Meags is talking about here in that 2-page spread, it was even more dangerous. And many people lived lives that seemed heterosexual from the outside, when in fact they were either miserable in a straight marriage, or they simply just did not marry and, became spinsters or, old maids, or I'm really not sure what maybe a confirmed bachelor. I'm really not sure what you'd call a man. They don't really have a word for that, do they? So there you go, double standard, guys. But yeah, so they didn't have a way to make their lives and their relationships solid and exist in the outside world. And photo booths allowed that. They were a very democratic space because they were located in public areas that, even though, especially in the case of African Americans, even though there were places that African Americans weren't allowed, makes me angry even now, but weren't allowed to go, the photo booths were located, some of the photo booths were located in places that they were, and so they were just as able to use them as anyone else, and the gay couples were as well, and the curtain cut them off from the outside world enough that it created a very safe environment for them to actually show their lives, and that to me is a beautiful thing. And even if the rest of the book had been horrible, this 2-page spread would have been worth every single minute I spent reading it. But the rest of the book is also amazing. Just her artwork. If you can see, I won't show you too much because really you need to go out and check this out. Every single thing in here is a drawing. These are not actual photographs. These are drawings of ID photographs that she took in a photo booth in Milan. And because in the third portion of the book, you follow her through a European trip that she takes in search of photo booth history and photo booth present history, present existence. And you get a lot of her life that way. You get a lot of her memoir that way. And it's all very interesting, and it's very cleverly and very seamlessly woven together. So you don't feel that you're reading a nonfiction book about photo booths and then all of a sudden you jump to her life. It's very seamlessly woven together, and it's very well woven together and very well written, and the drawings are beautiful, and I absolutely loved it. I was honestly very surprised by how much I loved this. I ordered it. The guy that we used to buy our comics from before he recently passed away unexpectedly, he would do a live Twitter of his ordering every month. So these were usually graphic novels that were coming out 2 to 3 months from then. And I would always watch the live tweets and, live Twitter sessions. And if you just tweeted him, hey, put this in my file, he would order it for you. And this is one that he tweeted about. And I thought, that sounds kind of interesting. I really should pick that up. So I told him to order it for me. And when I got it, it sat on my shelf until this week. And like I say, I don't remember exactly when I ordered it, but I know it had to be at least the beginning of the summer, maybe even earlier. But it's been sitting on my shelf for several months. And, I wish I had gotten to it earlier just because it's awesome. It's amazing. If you like graphic novels, if you like nonfiction, even if you're not really that familiar with graphic novels and you want to try to get into graphic novels and you like nonfiction, this may be a really good starting place because it is pretty text heavy despite the pages, a couple of the pages that I showed you. There's a lot of drawings, but you do have a lot of text, in here because there's a lot of history packed into this. It's pretty thick for a graphic novel, but it's not that long of a book. But you get a full and, I don't know if it's complete, just because I don't know that much about photo booth history, but it's a really well fleshed out history, even if it's not 100% complete. And I absolutely love it. And I sincerely hope that Meags does more in the future. perhaps produces another graphic novel, but we shall see. This may be her only graphic novel because this was something that she was really particularly focused on and interested in, but her art is wonderful, and I sincerely hope that wherever she is living right now, that she is continuing with her wonderful art and will grace us with some more of it. And like I say, if you like graphic novels and nonfiction, go check this one out. You may be able to get it at your library. I'm pretty sure you could probably order it straight from the press. But your very best bet is to go to your local comic book store and ask them for it. If you can purchase it and you don't need to pick it up from the library, or you don't particularly, and you want to purchase it, go to your local comic book store. And if you've never been to your local comic book store, look them up. Seriously, do a Google search for comic book shops in your town. Most places have one of a certain size. I won't say every place has one, because my town growing up certainly didn't have one. But a lot of towns have many, many, many. And, you'll be patronizing a local business, and you may run into some other things that you really want to read there while you're buying this. So that's my PSA for the day, guys, and I will be back in another day or two with some more fun and hopefully enjoyable content. Let me know below if you've read this and what you think, or if maybe you want to read it, or if you have any questions about it, or if you just want to say, hey, I got a channel too, here's my videos. I will certainly go and watch them. And I have rambled on for 11 minutes, and I do believe it's my bedtime. So I will see you all in the next video. Bye.